I don't know where to look.
Well,
camera.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hey. Hello.
So,
is it dark? Are we dark?
Oh, there we go. Nope. It's
oh, there we are. We're on. All right. Well, hello. We think it's 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
So you might see us. We're looking at our eyes instead of at the camera. So, sorry, guys.
We don't know. What we're going to do is we worry a little bit because we don't always have really good wireless in our shop. And so what we're doing is the same time we're live on YouTube, we are taping it. And so if something happens and it goes in and out or does whatever, and maybe the quality of this is poor, we'll go ahead and save the other one and upload that so that you'll still be able to watch it if there's some part that is cutting out and that you miss it, because we might not know that our internet is down until it's a little too late and we've went on for 5 or 10 minutes. We've had those issues before. If you've watched any of our live stuff, you'll see we've had and we have it repeatedly. So we don't know. We are quilters and retired medical people. We are not AV savvy at all. That being said, if anybody wants to come for a visit, we can put you up and you can
teach us some things. Yeah. And I've got a degree in fashion and fabric. So super not this.
We know nothing. Yes, that's exactly right. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep this to about 30, 40 minutes, try to make it kind of quick. You guys that, again, know us know that we can talk fairly fast. And the purpose of it, of course, is to answer all of your mask making questions. We really just want to be a resource for you to make sure that you feel safe and that you're making the mask that you'd like to make that will fit everybody in your family properly. This is really not a debate about whether or not we should wear masks. I just don't want to get into that again. You know, you guys all know what I think, and it's not going to be some sort of a weird argument. So those of you guys that have already emailed and messaged, we're not going to bite on that. But that being said, I do want to just start off, since I have control of the mic. I just want to mention a couple studies that were just published this week, because again, being a medical person, my information is fact-based. And so, and that's important to me. So I just want to mention a couple things. All of these can be Googled. You can look all of these up. Neither of us, I think, know how to attach links.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sure. Google it. You'll easily be able to find it. So the director for the National Institute of Health, he was on Meet the Press just this morning, said he does not believe that facial coverings are optional for people who want to protect themselves and the people around them. He feels it needs to be an absolute countrywide mandate. The director of the Global Health Institute says that every state should require masks when people are out. He further states that there should be no school resuming in hot zones. And for those school districts that do want to resume it, he feels that at a minimum, they need to have ventilation, proper spacing, and masks as a minimum opening standard. And then the Center for Disease Control, this was my favorite thing. They published their study finally in JAMA. And JAMA, of course, is the Journal of the American Medical Association. It's all fact-based, which is why again, back in March when we started making and wearing masks, everybody said, oh, we don't really know. We don't know if we should agree with it or not. We haven't studied it. Well, this is their whole thing, is they studied it. They studied it, come out with absolute numbers. It's actually, a lot of the stuff in JAMA is a very dry read, but this is a very good article, and I would suggest everybody Google it and read it. It's very good, and it talks about, they tested all of the different masks out there, and I'm just gonna get to the best part. They're calling it the quilters mask, and the quilters mask were the best ones. The 2 layers of cotton with the liner of the non-woven interfacing in there. In fact, if you're wearing a quilter's mask, you are safe to 1.5 feet away, 1.5 feet. So if you're in a situation where people are not social distancing, if you have on a quilter's mask, then, you know, good deal. The other thing that they did with that is they did a study, and I thought it was really interesting, and it's part of that same article. They did a study, and it was in Missouri. It was at a hairdresser salon, and 2 of the hairdressers tested positive for COVID, and together they saw 167, I think.
Oh, dang.
But here's the best part: that shop, before they opened, they required that every hairdresser and every patron wear a mask. So guess how many people got COVID?
0. Oh, that's the
0.
best scenario. That's
0.
good.
And I quoted that to somebody else, and they said, well, of course not, because it's a hoax. Well, here's the thing. There was also the wedding. Google about the wedding. The groom that was sick 7 days before his wedding went to the wedding anyway. He died 2 days later. 80 other people came down with COVID, and 14 of those people to date have died. So just a difference. Masks, no masks. So anyway, all right, that's enough. No more of that. We're going to talk about mask making questions. And so we had a couple.
Yeah, I have
you. I would start with you.
That's why I was
start
ignoring her.
Yes.
Goodness, I'm sorry. I was.
She always ignores me.
And there is, you guys, people's questions, which is awesome. I like that we're all
in it together.
Yeah, and we all know we are all in different stages of making masks. Some of us have been from, day one of, hey, let's make masks, and some of you guys are new because the world is changing and your area might be changing, whereas maybe there's more cases, maybe you've come down and there are less cases. So I like that we're all answering in personal experience.
We're all supportive. That's a good thing. Yeah.
So one of the most asked questions, I don't think we've seen anything this morning, but we've got some emails about it, our Facebook questions about it, is they want to see close up how to measure.
Oh,
and they also have a question of what's the importance of the chin to the temple measurement.
Oh, yes. So we can talk about that. And I noticed when we watched it back, I sometimes trail off and then forget what I was saying. And I do need to clarify that a little bit, because when we were talking about children's measurements, and we had said that almost all of these 3, 4, and 5-year-olds were 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. The reason that there's an importance with those 3, it's almost a triangle measurement, is because then it changed. At about the age of 10, they were all over the map, because everybody has a different size nose, everybody has different types of cheekbones, a different width, a different length of their face. And so that's the purpose of those 3 measurements. The other thing that needs to be very clear is there's 2 different types of masks that we suggest. And one is this dust mask, which really didn't require any measurements at all. There's a small, medium, large, and an extra large. And this one was super simple. We'll talk about this again in a little bit. Or the 3 measurements was for the Jessie mask. We like the Jessie mask because with those 3 measurements, it's going to kind of lock at your nose, it's going to lock underneath your chin, and it's not going to ride while you're talking. The problem with the Jessie mask is you have to have a little bit of sewing skill to be able to do it. And so that's where those measurements come in. As you can see, the measurement from my chin up, from my nose around to however big my nose is, around to my chin, and then from here back. And that's just to make sure that everything is locked properly here and locked so that it doesn't ride up into my eyeballs. The other thing to note is that there is that extra space in the front, and that's there on purpose. And so that's there by design so that you can breathe. Well, not so that you can breathe. I don't want to make it sound like you can't breathe in a mask, but you do have just a little bit more room there, and it doesn't get quite as hot in there. So we do like that little, that's the beak, and somebody else had asked about the beak. So that's what that's for. So that's where these measurements come in. And that's the other reason, is that we were suggesting, if you weren't sure if you wanted to make your first one out of muslin, maybe not use all of your perfect fabric or all of your supplies. If you want to make just a quick one with just 1 layer, and I'll show you that in a minute. I made a beard one, and just make sure that it fits, and then go on from there. Because when you do these measurements, the other thing you have to remember, if you're not a sewer or not a seamstress, is you have to remember to add your seam allowance, right? Because now if I measure her, and let's see, let's watch in the camera while we're doing it.
And when we start, it's right where someone would wear their sunglasses or your eyeglasses, your reader glasses. So right in the middle.
And it's going over her eyeball, not because your mask is going to go over there. We just want to know that measurement, because if you were to measure the swoop of that, you would see it's a little bit different on the pattern. Oh, sorry, we're going to poke your eye. And then we're coming over to right in front of her ear right here. So this is the measurement. Now the measurement on her is 5, but now, you want to be careful, because you want to make sure that you have that extra 1/4 inch seam allowance for sewing. And that's the other thing that makes a little bit of a variability. If you are not, if you're not sure where 1/4 inch is on your seam allowance, if you're not very proficient on the sewing machine, it might take you a couple before you get one that fits properly, but you'll get it. you'll get it. It's really just what, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, it's 4 seams. So the other thing is to measure for underneath the chin. We're going to go back in that exact same spot, and then we're going to come under. And then right here, right where there's kind of a hard part of a chin, and then it gets to the soft spot, you're going to go to right there, because that's what we want to lock so that it doesn't slide up.
And I find with my measurement, I like to go in a little farther because I talk a lot, or if I'm answering phones. I find that sometimes it doesn't ride so well. So if you're having troubles where your mask is riding up a little more, extend that measurement. Go like another 1/2 inch. It's not going to hurt anything. And easily what you could do is just extend your seam allowance. We should have printed off a Jessie mask.
I have one.
Oh, good.
Because too, look at how much room you have here, you know, and again, everybody is shaped differently. That's why it's so difficult, is because everybody is different. That measurement, if you noticed, was 5.5. And so, and that's what we're finding, is that symmetry in a measurement, children have that. But again, as we start to develop cartilage and fat stores, all of that changes a little bit. I have a Jessie mask pattern printed off. And the other thing too that I want to mention about the Jessie mask pattern, we still are getting emails about where to find it. And if you go to our website, www.fabricpatch.net, we have all of the other videos, all of the templates, extra information. You can print everything off. You can adjust it. But again, these were just the two that we like. It's just our opinion. There's another one. There's an orange dot quilter. I like her. I like her patterns. Is she from Norway? She's Scandinavian. I'm not sure which of those countries. She has kind of a fun one. She has one that kind of starts square. She puts a couple funny little pleats in it, and it makes it kind of a box that stays out. So hers is kind of nice. I keep wanting to try that. I just don't have the time. So if you have a different pattern that you really like, something that you think fits and it fits you every time, don't feel like you have to change and do one of these. You know, all we're saying is that you need to make sure you're using a good quality quilters cotton, a good quality cotton that has a high thread count. And that's be tested. And so that's the big thing. But and that also brought up, there was a question about, a lot of questions on Eliza's pink one that we showed in the video, and we decided not to put the bottom one down there. We just decided to do that because so many people were concerned about that constriction. And again, one thing that we were talking about when we were talking about the kids is compliance. And we just want to make sure that when they leave for school and they're asked to wear it, that they keep it on and they're not throwing a fit by 10 o'clock because they're so uncomfortable. And if they felt like they were too constricted, just having that little bit of air underneath might help them to feel a little bit better about that. So 2 questions about that. One, a lot of people said, but can't I go ahead and just put the elastic on there? Of course you can. Absolutely. Even with this pattern.
The adjustable elastic. So you could button it.
Yeah, you could go around the ears. You could put your ties on it. You could use the adjustable at the top. You could use the adjustable at the bottom. Your other option is to go ahead and put the 2 buttons on and decide if you want to put the adjustable on or not. One thing about that I want to mention, though, is that when you do this, I don't know if you guys can see in there. You can you see that a little closer? I can't tell where I'm at. Well, here you do.
well, you see, they see.
What I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So if you put your elastic up at the top and at the bottom down here, what will happen is, unless somebody has an extremely long face, it will buckle. You'll get a weird little buckle right there. And so instead of having that, yeah, there we go. Instead of having that, am I doing that? Then you would just want to come in. And so that's what'll help it to lay flat. So you can add that tie or that elastic down there, whatever you'd like to. The second part about that question was that people were asking, if it's open, like Eliza's pink one was, does that provide less protection? It's actually okay. You're actually all right with that. Because what happens is, you think about what you're wearing a mask for. You have to remember, what you're wearing a mask for is so that your germs are contained in that cotton, so that while I'm talking and my little droplets are shooting out, or if I'm coughing or sneezing, there is a little bit of a projection that's happening, and it's going to hit that cotton and it's going to stay there. So that idea of whooshing air underneath and having enough momentum to go out, we still have social distancing. So you're still protected and you're okay. And the same thing, as long as somebody isn't standing over somebody who's coughing up, you know, you're going to be okay. You're going to be protected. So it's actually all right if somebody needs to do that.
So one measurement we didn't go over was the chin to temple.
Oh, let's do that.
And then that's, again, right where you stop.
3
and
points.
Then up to that. And what's the benefit to this measurement?
The benefit to that is people with chubby faces. I mean, I don't know how to say, round faces. There's people
chubby one.
There's people with round faces, people with, you know, wide cheekbone, jawlines, and people with narrow faces. And so that's a lot of it, is to know how much distance is it from here to here. And that was why too, with children, the reason that we cut that corner, Eliza's pattern. Here's Eliza's pattern. So this was that, let's see, there we go. This is that original pattern. And then all we did was we drew a line, and you can see that on the original video. We drew a line from there to 1 inch below up to here. And so her pattern looked like that. And the reason that we did that was just because we wanted to have one button, one piece of elastic. Again, that idea of fewer moving parts, just make it a little easier. One point of contact that's maybe going to rub, or anything that we could think of to make sure that people felt, kids in particular, felt more comfortable for their full day wearing their mask. So that was why we did that. But again, if you have something else that's working, we want to see it. We want to share it.
And Barbara had a question a while back. She has some silk scarves.
Silk is great. Silk is great. Again, what you're looking for really is, it's about fiber content and washability, but the other thing is that thread count. How tight is that weave to be able to keep things from penetrating and going through? So polyester and knits are probably the least good because they get wet so quickly. And so if your mask is wet, or if your scarf is wet, then you have limited protection. But if it's able to stay dry, then you're okay. Silk would be great. Silk would be great. Less washable probably, but good.
Let's see. There was a question about products that are getting available. So one of the questions was, where do we get Olifun? How do we get more of it? And maybe Halyard 600. So a few things to answer that with. Olifun, that is produced or manufactured, I guess, by Fairfield. We have been calling, they're almost out. They have to start manufacturing more of it for us.
But they have to open.
Right.
And that's the problem. It is manufactured in the United States. It is not made in China. But it's back to that same thing. You know, what companies can open and be at full production and what companies cannot.
So we do have another order, like 2 shipments coming, but we don't know if we can get shipments after that. Because again, they have to be able to open enough to get enough people in the facility
Safely
to be making them. Halyard 600, if you know someone in the hospital that can get that for you.
Hospitals throw this away every day. So find your connections, because Halyard 600, what it is, everybody has seen it. Anytime somebody opens up a package of sterile instruments, that's what it's for. We use it, we wrap it, we autoclave, we clean it, we wrap everything up, we put it in the autoclave and sterilize the instruments. And then what happens is we store it on the shelf. And then the Halyard 600 will prevent bacteria from getting into those products. And so that's why we love it. As soon as they open it up, they throw this away. It's a single-use item. We then can go ahead. It is washable, but it's, and even though you can autoclave it, that's a different type of heat. So don't put it in a super hot dryer, and don't touch your iron to it because it'll melt. But if you can't get this, because so many places are everything is disposable now. And so you might not be able to find this. That's why, because some people were still asking about Oli. That's what Oli looks like. It is the fabric version.
The people that, us normal people, what we can get a hold of. Because Halyard 600, you have to know, because we got that, we know a nurse in Wenatchee.
We know people.
A nurse practitioner, I think is what she is. So we just know some people who have it and have been cutting out templates of it for us. So it's one of those things, you got to know somebody to get it. Let's see. What was the other thing?
The Pellon products, the interfacings, as long as it's non-woven, you can use that. And those, I think they're kind of keeping up on
and
that
there's
now.
a lot of options. On our website, we do the Only Fun because that's awesome. Again, just one layer in your mask. And then the Soft and Stay is one of my favorites. It's a really lightweight, non-woven interfacing. And it's
This is what we showed in the very first video. This was the one. And we did do 2 layers. Now, remember, our very first video was shot on March 9th, and we were making masks for nurses because the nurses were out of masks. We were out of PPE. So that's what we were doing. For Joe Public out there, the truth is, even if you just wanted to do 2 layers of cotton, you know, you're protecting other people from yourself. And as long as you social distance, you would be protected from other people. If you had 1 layer of an interfacing in there, you could be very assured. So,
and Only Fun can be found in other places. So we first found it at Walmart on sale for like $1.50 for a 6-yard roll. So that's what got us into the, oh my gosh, that's it. I was searching because I didn't have that degree in fabric, so I knew what I was looking for. You can find it at Walmart.
It's polypropylene is what you're looking for.
Hobby Lobby probably carries it. If there's still Michaels out there, anything that sells craft or fabric materials, you should be able to find something that's Only Fun or 100% polypropylene material. Also, the cloth grocery bags that we get, you know, most stores, that is polypropylene. You may have noticed that if you wash that bag because something leaked or something bad happened, it doesn't come out of the washer and dryer super excellent. Look great. But once we have that sandwich between the 2 layers of cotton fabric, it's protected from all that abrasion that happens. And I have been washing my Only Fun mask for every day for
4 months.
Yeah. And it's still awesome. I do have a little where my seam has come, so I have some fabric fraying. So I have to go back in and maybe adjust that.
Make a new one.
I probably should. I should. And then I had some questions about washing and drying masks. So I have a little lingerie bag, like we showed on the video, that I put all of our masks in because Robert has to wear them for work, and I usually go through 2 because if I get makeup on them or something, I always have 2 at work. I just throw them all in a lingerie bag. I put them in the washing machine. I put a little bit of bleach in my washing machine, my detergent. I wash and I dry. You can hand wash like Mom does, but for me, I
think that hand washing is quicker. And then I know that I have scrubbed every corner of that mask. So I do it by hand and it takes me seconds. I just put it under hot water, add my soap in my hand. I scrub, scrub, rinse, 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 wring it out, and then I set it on the counter to dry, and it is always dry by morning. I far prefer hand washing. So it's just super quick, and I don't have to, you know, worry about it, or did I get it out of the washer and put it into the dryer. So also I'm more economical than her. I think she has more money than me. I don't want to.
I just go through a lot of laundry.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
it's just you and Dad. You guys probably do laundry once a week.
That's true. Nina Russo, she asked about the alteration of the Jessie mask as demonstrated in video number 5. She wanted to know, why did we do a dart and not a slice? And I'm not sure that I did it right. And you have the sewing degree. But here's why we thought, is because we thought what we're dealing with, again, like we showed, is we're dealing with a triangle. And so it is true that if we were changing a pattern and shortening a sleeve or something, you'd want to make sure that you shorten the whole thing. But if we're just changing one part of that pattern and we want it to be a little bit bigger because our face is a little bit rounder, or we wanted it to be longer because our nose is a little bit bigger, we're just changing one part of that triangle. And so so that's why we did like a dart. And again, if you find a pattern on the Jessie pattern that is similar, but it's off by just a little bit, in that 5th video near the end, we showed how to alter
we
that.
Found some of those things like the darts or a pleat or something like that. We find that there's a whole lot of people watching us that have never sewn before or haven't sewn in years. So we find that we need to do it as basic as possible, because we've had questions that are very what we think is basic that we like, oh, we should have mentioned that that funny corner is a dog ear, or so we find that if we can make it as simple as possible, we can help with those questions and help you get to your mask making as fast and as efficient as you can. But if you know other sewing techniques that work, go ahead and put those adaptions in. It's just hard for us to teach someone who has never sewn before, or are hand stitching masks and don't have a sewing machine, just easily to do that.
And we do try to keep up on our comments on YouTube and on Facebook. We try really hard, but emails, that's a disaster. I have to tell you, we get thousands of emails a day. So we try to answer them, but I have to admit, I kind of scan through so that if people have questions with an order, I try to get those first before we've already shipped it out. So, but we get too many to answer. And so, anyway, and let me just show you this pattern. So again, and this one is not the Jessie mask. This is the dust mask, the original dust mask pattern. And again, if you are nervous about stuff, this is pretty simple. There's just 4 sizes. And you can adjust this pretty easily. That one mask adaptation that we showed on Thursday, the one that tucks into the scarf, that was what we did. I did the same thing for somebody with a beard. And I just wanted to show you, this is the same thing. And if you just add a front part to it for a beard, because I get this a lot, people that say, well, my husband has a big, huge beard and I can't get anything to fit him. And maybe you can't tuck it up into something. So again, just like Eliza's pink one, you don't have to tuck everything in, and you don't have to have it secure under your chin. And even the CDC, if you read that study, they talked about that what they were super concerned about was a nice tight fit up at the nose bridge. This is the critical part, is right here. And they wanted to make sure you didn't have a gap on the side. This down here, again, there's not enough volatility to really worry about. I mean, not that you don't want to worry about it. You want your lips hanging out off the bottom, but you're okay. So for a beard, so this was the same thing. Can we put this? Oh, here, we'll put this on you so that I can talk. So then if it fits, and again, this is just the first outer layer, so I would still do the lining and whatever else I wanted to put. So then all I would have to do is put the ties here. Let's put it on the side. And then this is going to hang down over his beard. So, it's, and I guess it's not going to protect, his beard from contamination, but it's also, a mask isn't going to protect your shirt or your arms or your pants either. We've talked about this multiple times, which is why we still social distance. Don't let somebody cough on you. So, just kind of stay, have that little bubble. But anyway, you can do that. So all you're doing, let's look at this again, is just, I just had that in my hand. Oh, this is the original pattern. Just add a little bit that comes down to the bottom. And again, cut it out of muslin or cut it out of something else first. Have him hold it up, see if you're on the right track, make a little cut out another one. And then all you have to do too is you could do the ties if you want to. I thought I took out. Okay. What I really like for ties are, the shoelaces. So if you open up a pair of shoelaces, all you have to do is take your shoelaces, and if you cut it in half, you have exactly the right measurement. And so then you can just sew those on the end. Oh, I have that on mine. Yep, that's what I use. And again, I know you guys have seen this a lot, but and I think I've demonstrated it in 3 or 4 videos, but even, with the mask, all you have to do is just tie it on, and then you can slide it down. And then when you want to adjust yourself and put it on, you're just holding onto the edge and lifting it.
But I tie my top tie super high, because you guys have seen me with the bun-in or whatever, but I find if I tie it to the top, it doesn't slide down. So instead of going from the top tie straight back, where you can't really attach it very well, it's very high is where I sit it tightly. And there is no perfect formula. I think that's the most important thing, is that, and that's why we keep saying, we just want to be a resource for you to make sure that it works for you. So everybody is shaped different. Everybody has different types of hair, different, the way that they like to wear their hair. And so what we want is our goal is just to help so that everybody wears a mask. Everybody wears a mask they're comfortable in, that they feel confident in. Go ahead. And you go for it. No, that's it. I'm sorry. Shoelace sizes. We do 36-inch shoelaces. So turning them in half, cutting
18
them in half,
inches.
so you've got 18 inches or so. And that's what I do with handmade ties. So whether you're cutting it off of a t-shirt, you're making your own fabric ties out of the scraps of your fabric, it's 18 inches is probably minimum. It gives you, for any size head, you could really get it tied around.
These are our dollar store. You can get 6 pairs of shoelaces for $1. So affordable.
Okay, so we are talking a lot about the metallic ole.
Oh, you
it
don't
is
want
not
that.
good.
That's
And a lot of
totally
people
different.
are saying that. There's
Don't
a
use
weird,
that.
shiny metallic layer that
You
can't
can
breathe through.
pull that off. Now, if you find the metallic, it's a funny, the way that they adhere that, you can pull that off, but you can also damage the ole underneath it. I would just say, don't get it. Don't get it. Hold off. You know, ours is here. We have more coming in, but yeah, the metallic ole.
Don't waste with the metallic.
It's made.
And we have a lot of questions and about the fusible interfacing from Pelham.
I was going to talk about that. So we get questions about that all the time, and a couple things. So the fusible stuff, I like the fusible. I have made hundreds of masks with the fusible. The reason that I like it is because it's worry-free. All I have to do is take this, iron it to the wrong side of my fabric, and then I'm just cutting one thing. I'm cutting my outside layer, and that's where I put it, and then I put my inside layer in, and then I'm done. And I don't have to make sure that everything is held together. So I like the fusible, but a lot of the questions about it is, well, but it's glue. It's not like sniffing glue. It's not that kind of glue. It's a thin, like thread layer of fusible. Its only intent is to hold that fabric in place until you're done sewing. By the third washing, so most of it even by the second washing, it's gone. It's out of there. So you're not inhaling glue. It is just a simple sewing adhesive, and no risk with inhaling. That being said, some people might be very sensitive. I don't really know, but I think that the diesel fumes that I smell every day, hairspray, all the teratogens in that, way worse than that. So
and that's also,
make that decision for yourself,
right,
but
personal preference. If you feel like I'm not taking the
do what you
chance,
feel comfortable with.
it's all good.
Yeah, do what you feel comfortable with.
Okay, ironing ole fun. So the easiest way, again, if you touch your iron to the ole, it's gonna melt, and
Plastic
Lordy.
fabric.
Yes, you can do a iron pressing sheet that we sell, and most quilt stores will sell that, and that protects the heat.
You can also do a synthetic setting.
Yeah, there's, if you have a,
But
how I do it is I put my ole fun down and make sure that my fabric piece is on top. I press from right there.
Yeah, carefully.
And then your ole is fine. But if you nick like a little edge of your ole, it's all of your iron. So
I watched oddly a couple nights ago, just like for fun, scrolling around through YouTube. There was an Australian guy who was out in his shop, and he made his face masks for his family. He used the ole, and he intentionally melted it. He didn't want to sew it, and he didn't want the holes, and so he took the edge of his iron and he melted it. It's kind of cool. Yeah, he said he wrecked a whole lot until he got it right, but it was kind of cool watching it. But anyway,
melting.
FYI. I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did that. Oh, I have a lot of questions of people who are new to us, new to our website. If you are looking for anything on our website regarding masks, on our website, fabricpatch.net, at the top of our page, there's a face mask for COVID tab. Click that tab. You'll see all of Cindy's videos, including the one we just posted. We'll put this one on there. You'll see the templates for the regular desk mask. You'll see the Jessie mask templates. You'll see
written directions
for the desk mask, which is similar to the Jessie. It's the same idea.
We have a Q&A.
We have a
Q&A page. I think it's about 4 or 5 pages long.
Yeah, we have some a write-up about why we make it the way we make it. So
why quilters masks are #1, as said by the CDC.
And then below all of that fun printable stuff, you'll see the product. So we've put the regular elastic, ole, other non-woven interfacings and stuff on that right there for you.
And also people ask all the time, how do they know on our site what is quilters cotton? Well, here's how you know we are quilters. We are a quilt shop. So all of it is cotton. We have a couple of pieces that are a linen blend. So it's 15% linen, 85% cotton, and that says that in the description. But everything, we don't, we have a couple of knits, some of the baby knits,
and that's
it says
super obvious
that it's knit. But that's it. That's all we sell.
And then this would be good if you guys are if you're making homemade gaiters, that would work.
It would be good.
A couple of people asked about if there's the gapping, like on Eliza's or on a gaiter, about are you okay with that gap or a cheek gap? So for you guys have to decide. We talked about that
earlier. Yeah. They must have been late.
So you guys just have to decide for yourselves. Again, keep your germs to yourself. So if you think the gaiter, like my husband, that's what he wears. And I make the quilters mask, but he likes the gaiter because of the way it fits. And again, he's just keeping his germs to himself. So however you want to protect, or
you want to have no gap at the top and kind of try for a minimal gap at the side. But again, that one underneath. And if you read that article from the CDC in JAMA, they talked about that, and that there just isn't enough propulsion so that if that underneath, if you've got it long enough, you're actually okay with that.
But and then the buttonhole elastic for your Jessie mask. So where I would personally put it, if I was going to use the buttonhole elastic, is I would just stick it right in the middle here. Yeah. I would sew it in, just like I was going to sew my shoelace in. Sew it in right there, and on the other side, put myself a pretty old button, and then stitch it around. And how I do it, and how we did it for Eliza, was we put it on, fitted her, put the button on, or fitted. Sorry.
No, you said fitted.
Oh, put a button or two buttons if you feel like they're going to be growing for someone little. Put a few buttons on there, and then you can easily, it's elastic, so you can stretch it farther off to put it, put it on, take it off, take it all the way off to wash, and just wash it with the button on it. Again, the buttons on the elastic are completely washable. With the button, you do want to make sure they don't hit with an iron, have it too hot on a dryer setting, because there's possibly it melt. It's all plastic. But I think putting a elastic on there, and you can put right in the middle. Again, if you go right on the very edge of it, you could end up having a little gap. So if you cover it in the middle, because again, the buttonhole elastic comes in 5/8 or 3/4 inch tape. So if you did a 5/8 inch tape, you would have plenty of space to stick that in there, and it would cover everything.
And again, the people that are concerned about the space underneath, we're just giving you options. Find the mask pattern that fits you the best, the one that you can sew easily, the one that you feel comfortable wearing. If you feel like it slides up a lot, it's because it's not hooking underneath here. That's why the Jessie mask is really nice. So, there isn't any one that's better than another. It depends on if you've got a beard, it just depends. So we just want you to choose the mask that's best for you, and we want you to wear it. And again, it's the cotton fabric is what's the key, and the lining.
Some things asking about fitting kids for masks. So if it's the smallest size, if they're like going for a 3-year-old,
I would just
going to make Orions.
I would just refer.
It's going to be 3.
Same thing. I would, same thing. And I would just refer you to the video that we did yesterday. We talked about how to measure, same thing that we did with her this just a little bit ago. Just measure that. And I would do the same thing. I like the idea of the Jessie mask for the kids, for my grandkids, because I know that they are fully protected. And I know that social distancing with the child is going to be
super hard,
non-existent. And so I think that added protection, and to make sure that it's not sliding all over their face, I think that that's important. And so my best thing would be, and I know this is difficult, and that was why we wanted to do this as quickly as possible, is to go ahead and make a test mask out of muslin, fit it. Does it fit? Does it work? Does it ride up? Walk around a little bit, sing me a song. Does this fit okay? So that you have something that will work.
And that's how we find that the buttonhole elastic is nice. We find that key with Eliza, her biggest thing was she was uncomfortable around her ears, or it was too loose and it just fell down. So you can adjust any size mask to however tight you want it to.
And we tried to make that clear, but I think too, when I watched back, I wasn't sure that was clear. It was to say that I knew that I measured her properly, and I knew that mask was going to fit her exact. So when we put it on her and she said it's too tight, or then we
Mhm.
changed it and then it was too loose. I thought, what the heck? I absolutely measured her properly and it was all in the elastic. So again, the key to a proper fit is an adjustable elastic strap, because that's what's going to make sure that it's not too tight, too loose, not riding up, not doing strange things.
Mhm.
And again, having a mask that might slip a little bit when you're talking, that's probably really more for adults and older kids who are going to understand not to constantly be touching their mask. So
Mhm. Let's see. That's kind of all.
the
The
questions.
difference between 3/4 and 5-inch elastic, they are nothing.
We just got
Itsy
both because those
bitsies.
are the two sizes that they come in.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they want the bigger, but I'll hold them up for you.
And I don't know if you take regular elastic and cut little slits in it, if it's going to be the same.
I don't think it is.
Because the holes on these almost have like a binding. I don't know if I can get it close enough. Have like a binding edge on it, so it's not frayed. It's not really a cut hole. It's actually knitted with a hole in it. So I don't know if you were to take regular elastic, cut slits in it, if it's gonna. My guess is it's not gonna last very long. But if you're desperate and you can't find anything, it's worth a try.
There's hardly, well, it's an 1/8 of an inch difference, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah, and
hardly any difference
Mhm.
between the two. We just ordered black and white in both sizes. So
For constructing the mask and putting your interfacing in, again, only 1 layer. Anything else non-woven, do 2 layers. Again, 1 layer is sufficient. If you want to do a little extra goodness, an extra layer would be fine, except for the olefin. The olefin's really hot. With the olefin, I put my olefin on the wrong side of my lining fabric. The reason why is that ole will push out my outside fabric and create that real structured form. So again, personal preference for me, but if you want to do it on the reverse side, either way, it's going
the
to protect
opposite
you.
way.
You did on the other
I
side?
do it the opposite way because I am more afraid of your germs than of mine.
Oh, no.
So doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Doesn't
whatever.
matter.
As
Yeah.
long as you
A lot
have
of
that
positions.
non-woven interfacing in the middle, you're protected, whether it's a layer of fabric difference or two. But yeah.
All right. And then somebody else had asked, are we still making and donating masks to the public? And we are, but it's kind of modified. In fact, we're right now in the middle of making a bunch more for the VA. They've asked for more, and we're trying to get 40 gowns made for a local nursing home by Tuesday. And we still offer them to the nursing homes, the local assisted living. We make sure that the police all have them in their cars to give to people who have limited resources. But I have to say now, because we've been passing them out to the public, all they had to do was knock on our door. We've been passing them out since March. So now if somebody, Joe Public, comes and knocks on the door, we're not so giving, because we kind of think, wait a minute, we're into our 5th month and you're just now asking for a mask. We know it's only because Costco won't let you in. So it's modified. We don't just freely pass them out anymore, but we're still making them for people that, we know have limited resources.
Our local police department, they're passing out masks.
We give them to them and we let them decide.
If you see a police officer or
if you're local, go ask them.
Yeah, they'll give you masks. Don't touch them. They don't want you to touch them. And a lot of people are saying, make sure you practice with your kids before they go to school. Putting your mask on, keeping it on.
Not touching it, washing their hands.
Yep. So a lot of practice. And
social distancing.
I think I was talking with Mom that I worry because there's a lot of people my age with kids and some are younger. And whatever your school decides, just own it. Be super excited that they're going for school for 1 week and then off for 2. I mean, I don't know.
The other thing,
my kids feed off of our energy like crazy. If I'm having a bad day, Wyatt's having a bad day, and it just makes for a horrible day. So I fake it a lot while I'm around them, and then when they're napping, I go pull some wings and take my aggression out on them. But
and the last question that I had that people had emailed, and I got several of these, were people that were asking, what do you say to somebody who's an anti-masker? And, I think you can say just one thing to them. What if they're wrong? If I'm wrong, then, and I know that I'm not, because again, I've got the CDC, the WHO, but if I'm wrong, so what? So what? We had a little, harem look going on for a while. It doesn't matter. If you're wrong, are you willing to risk your child's life, your mother's life, your neighbor's life? So it just, we need to, if it's erring on the side of caution, it's a simple thing. And we can all just be in this together, and we can all just support each other. So,
yeah. And again, it's keep your germs to yourself.
Yeah, that's all we want.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a partisan thing. Yeah. It's a germ thing.
Put a gaiter on, so you just have a face covering. Do a real mask. And when winter comes,
it'll be super simple.
No one's gonna have issue because they're gonna have a scarf on anyway. And they're just gonna
super simple.
Flip it over.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had another question. I know. Oh, batik fabric.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of a top-rated 100% cotton quilter materials.
Very tight weave.
Very tight.
It feels different because of the finish that they put on it and because of the way that they make it. But once you've washed batik 3 times, it feels the same as every other cotton. So that finish does wash off. But yeah, batik is fantastic, beautiful, rich colored fabric. Very, very nice. Made in Indonesia.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good option and it's super pretty.
Yeah. Most of the rest of our cotton fabric people had asked that too. Made in Pakistan, oddly, most of it. Yeah. All right. I feel like we're good, right?
I think, everything else.
And we'll keep checking. If you watch later after we post it, we'll kind of keep checking and we'll keep answering things. And we love that so many other people come on and answer. If you see a question that you can answer, fire away. That's fantastic because we're slow. We're busy doing other things.
And again, visit our website, fabricpatch.net. Yes, we run out of product quickly when it comes to elastic and interfacings, but we try to every day, cut some yardage, whatever, try to figure out what we have and we'll put on whatever we have. We try not to run the risk of selling out because it's disappointing on your end and our end. And how do we make it right with you after you ordered, you waited 2 days and what? No, I don't get it. So check back the nose bridge pieces. Again, you can find that on Uline if you want it in bulk. So if you're making hundreds and hundreds of masks, it might be better. I feel some people have asked us if we could sell them in smaller quantities because they only want for them, their family, and some kids. So you can find them in bulk in other places. But we're just, again, another avenue that if you don't want it in bulk. So, but check back. You can email us and let us know if you want us to contact you. But again, our emails get lost. So it's easier just to kind of check back on a lunch break, see what happens. You might get lucky.
And I keep saying, how many times have I said this is my last comment? This is true. I believe this is really my last comment before I say goodbye. But teachers, we keep talking about our kids because, man, 2 things that get everybody riled up is our kids and our dogs. And so we want to keep our kids safe. Everybody wants to keep the kids safe. Everybody's nervous about the kids. Think about your teachers. Think about your teachers because I'm really nervous because they're talking about the kids all coming back and the teachers going from room to room to room, so because I don't know why. But anyway, think about the teachers. Worry about the teachers and make sure that they're safe. And we were talking about that. Somebody said, well, teachers, nurses, essential people, it's kind of all the same thing. The nurses went back to work. Now the teachers need to go back to work. And I said, no, it is not the same thing. The reason that it's not the same thing is because nurses from day one, we are taught infection control. We are taught about sterile field, dirty field. We know when we've been contaminated and we know exactly what to do to prevent it and to, keep that hand from touching anything else before we go wash it. Teachers are not taught infection control. That's not something that is second nature to them. And so we are sending them into a battlefield. So I just want to say, thinking about that and what you can do to keep teachers safe. We have a good friend.
Practice with your kids. Like I practice washing our hands. They've got the whole hand finger action going on.
Colorful soap.
So yeah. So practice with your kids, all of that stuff. I know in this age we got fingers and noses. So we work really hard about washing our hands every time we touch our nose or blow our nose. So I think it's important. And masks. If you have someone younger who's not used to being around masks because of personal choices, they're going to go to school and they're going to be around masks. I know Harper, she was afraid. So we made her a really cute one. We made Wyatt a really cute one and we made it super fun. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. Let's take pictures and send them to Nana and, try to bark inside our mask. And so we made it really fun and Harper's not afraid anymore, which is really good. So definitely practice. If you have someone who's even going to preschool half days, the teacher's probably going to have a mask on. So practice for your teacher.
Yes.
It's going to be hard for them.
All right, you guys, there's some good, I don't have my glasses on, but it looks like there's some good comments. And so thank you guys for being kind, be kind to each other.
Cool.
Yeah, we, again, we just want to be supportive. And if there's other things that you need, and if there was something, again, that Brianna was unclear about, So anyway, thank you so much. You guys be safe and take care of people in your community and keep your germs to yourself.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I'll see you later.
Bye. All right. Oh, we have to do something. Are you sure? Yes.